I know you all have been patiently waiting for my return, but quantum physics would have it that I have technical issues. So I'm at the library trying to be, quiet, not too loud because there's people reading and such. But this is where I have access to internet for the time being until I can get my internet back up and running. And yeah, censorship is interesting. Because, I'm not going to lie, there was a period of time where I was like, wow. I mean, of course, if my life were like the Truman Show, you know, but from my end, my content only reaches who it reaches. But I feel that it's necessary to speak the truth, especially when what's holding up this world is so many lies, right? And it's easy to just go along and be complacent and say the right things. But being that nobody else is going to speak the truth, I figured, why not me? I mean, there's only two people watching on here anyway, right? 200, maybe 2,000, who knows? But, you know, I saw no pushback for a period of time. So I'm like, all right, well, I guess this is the thing. Um, and now my service was down. Not only that, but yeah, there's just been hesitation for me to say the things that needs to be said. But the silver lining to that is that clearly the things that I say is disrupting a system, which is necessary. And people are going to feel away, as they should, as I feel away. So we all going to feel away. But at least we could feel away about the truth. With that said, there's only a few things that I'm going to discuss here. I mean, there's a lot more to say and a lot more to show and express. But part of me feels like it's already out there one way or another. I'm just not sure how, just because I haven't been able to keep up with everything that's been going on. And there's certain things that I don't have access to. So I don't know what all is out there. But what I do know is that I made a post about um, how, I forget which department, but they were trying to take away the holidays, the monthly holidays like Black History Month and Women's um, International Women's History, and just a lot of different demographics and groups. And then they double backed and brought back Black History Month. And then there was even an event at the White House, which is cool, I guess. Um, but this isn't about politics. This is about tactic. It's easy to be persuade or fall into supporting people, places, and organizations that give us just a little crumb of support or acknowledgement. But it's important for us to know our worth and know that we deserve more, especially when they show us how they feel about us. Like, y'all were okay with taking these holidays and then bringing it back to celebrate us, right? Um, yeah, just be wary of that. But what we should do is still celebrate nonetheless, you know? And we can't expect other people to celebrate for us. We should be able to celebrate ourselves and see the beauty in ourselves, regardless of our backgrounds and cultures and beliefs, as long as we're uplifting each other and not trying to hurt one another. But the main point that I wanted to get at was it was Black History Month. Now it's Women's History Month. And it was just the Oscars yesterday. I forget which day it was going to be. I knew it was coming up soon, which I'm sure there were theatrics and events fueling that. But regardless, be wary of the people that we look up to and we see as these figures and idols, and even people as role models. Because we're in a day and age where the veil and the wool that's been over our eyes is crumbling. We're really seeing the truth. And don't get me wrong, there are some people that are very talented and maybe have good intentions. But we understand that there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that prop up people to get them to the positions that they are. You know, now there are some people that really ain't got much talent, but the ones that really are good at fooling you are the talented ones, because you can argue, oh, who's to say they did this and that to get where they are? Maybe they just work really hard. They're just really hardworking people. And of course, we love the art, especially if it makes us want to dance, or we love the movies, especially if it invokes emotion out of us. And especially when there's some songs with some positive messages like women empowerment. But be wary of the people who have messages of women empowerment. Meanwhile, disempowering women to be empowered. And that could be women's lives or careers. And I get it. There's competition out there, of course, but it's a difference between healthy competition and spiritual warfare that takes people off the board, so to speak. And especially because it was Black History Month last month, you know, as a Black woman, it infuriates me to see people talk about empowering Black folks and, uplifting the Black man and the Black woman and all these things, and non binary and trans folks too. That's another topic. You know, meanwhile, some of these same people with messages to empower the culture, so to speak, or they do so by saying, we need to be in these positions of power because it's good representation for the culture. But they do business and work with people who are actively taking our rights away in real time. And it's one thing, I get it to a degree, where it's like, oh, but it's chess. Sometimes you don't make progress fighting people, you have to work with them and then compromise. But it's just certain things that Black people have gone through in this country, and we've come too far to see us go backwards the way we're seeing in our day and age right now. And not only that, but I don't know, that tactic I think only works when the stakes aren't as high as they are, when it's not as serious as costing people their lives and their livelihoods and their rights. It's not a matter of like, oh, can we work with these people? When you're compromising accountability and honesty and telling people they're doing the wrong thing. Telling people they're doing the wrong thing is an uncomfortable conversation, but it's necessary when it comes to the rights of not just Black folks, but I specifically speak for Black folks because I'm a Black woman and Black people matter to me, even when I have to fight against my own people. Because my fight is for all of us, whether people see that or not. But there's certain things that's beyond working with the devil and compromising to make certain deals that will kind of help the rights. It's just certain fights that require complete brute force and honesty and accountability and just straight up saying, this is not okay. We don't have to agree. We don't even have to like each other. But this ain't right. And something has to be done with it. Something has to be done about it. And something has to be done to correct it. And we're not seeing enough of those conversations. There's too much backdoor deals. There's too many speaking in code rather than just saying what it is. And I get it. There's things that are intimidating and frightening that's going on. And when you try to do the right thing, you get pushback. But when you look at history and you look at all the things that we've been through as a people, all the vile things that Black people had to go through just to get to where we are today, simply speaking up and calling out the BS and actually doing something about it is light work compared to the things that our ancestors had to do to get us to this point. I say that to say it's a call to be courageous. And not only just to be brave, but be intentional about it too. And don't be so easily fooled by the glitz and glam and the things that sound good. And don't get me wrong, I have my moments. Like, I've been in this opened time capsule um, frequency of 2000s R&B and hip hop music. Now I know there's discrepancies with some of those artists. I know some of those artists don't share the same values as me. I know those same artists might just see me as a commodity rather than an artist or a fan or even a person. But I can compartmentalize enjoying the music because it is something that invokes positivity because it's necessary. It's necessary to lift our spirits during times like this, but then also having the wherewithal and the awareness to know when it comes to what really matters, I would challenge those artists to say, are you using your platform? Are you using your power to uplift people or disempower people? Like, yeah, I'm a jam to the song, but what do you stand for? So be wary. Because it's okay to enjoy the things that feel good, but don't be fooled. And that's what's been going on for a long time. But it's a call for us to wake up. And if you're one to fight for something, if you're one to challenge and, you know, rally together and be an army to fight, especially here in Trenton, New Jersey, really evaluate what are you fighting for? And who are you fighting for? Are you fighting for the culture? Are you fighting for poverty? Are you fighting for the kids? What do you really stand for? Or are you just allowing yourself to be moved and controlled like a pawn because you believe in false idols and leaders? Or maybe you're scared. Maybe the people that you looked up to don't really represent the message that you thought you were fighting for, and you're in too deep and you're too scared to go up against them. And it's just easier to go along with the crowd. That's cowardice. Because at that point, you're not really fighting for nothing. At that point, you're just letting yourself be moved and manipulated. Meanwhile, trying to move and manipulate somebody else that's actually fighting for something. I briefly mentioned LGBTQ, trans, gay folks, because there's a lot going on within the LGBTQ community. Now, you don't have to be somebody within the community or even agree with that lifestyle, but it doesn't mean that folks that you don't agree with doesn't have the right to live just like you, long as they're not causing harm to anybody. Now, the propaganda that's happening right now is the whole conversation about trans folks in locker rooms and all of those things. Meanwhile, we have politicians and people in position of power that have no issue invading women's privacies. But that's another conversation for another time. But back to this point, let's really think about it. The way that this conversation keeps coming up is as if every trans person is in sports. There's more nuanced experiences that trans people deal with. There's trans people in all industries, in all spaces. And if you want to try to criminalize them, you could criminalize everybody the same way. But they're bringing up these issues and grouping it as a conversation of, oh, these trans people in sports. Let's talk about trans people in politics. Let's talk about trans people that are in activism. Let's talk about trans people that are doing more community work and actually helping kids than the people that y'all put in these positions of power. Let's talk about that because there's more nuanced experiences to people who happen to be trans. But if we want to talk about crime as it regards to trans folks, let's talk about the people who are being senselessly murdered just for existing, not because they've done anything, not because they baited anything or attacked or harmed anyone, just because they exist being who they are. Let's talk about that. And to people who are within the LGBTQ community, my message to y'all is one of love and also a message for y'all to wake up too. Because let's be very real here. Some of y'all favorite artists, some of y'all mothers and yes queens that y'all give out so freely, not only steal y'all swag, steal your style, and everything that makes you as beautiful and creative as you are. And every now and then you might get a little credit from time to time. But be wary of those same people that are, again, working with the people who are actively taking your rights away. Ain't no song that's so good to make you naive to that. You dancing, spending money, going to the shows, watching the movies. Meanwhile, these same people taking your money, taking your rent money, or whatever, and working with the people that's actively taking your rights away. I'm sorry if the truth hurts, but if nobody else is going to say it, I'm going to say it because I actually care about y'all. And not only that, because I am a part of that community. And as someone that is a part of that community, and there's intersectional perspectives that I have as a woman, as a Black woman, as someone that is within the LGBTQ space, not only, yes, I am a little biased because it's my own experience, but it's more than just me. It's for all of us. I saw a post on Facebook, even though I didn't have any Wi Fi, right? It was basically saying, I don't need to say names, but y'all can figure it out. How there's artists out here charging rent prices for tickets. And that's not, we could talk about all the fields, but that's one particular instance. And someone basically alluded to, how is anybody that look up to you and want to be like you really actually going to be able to afford to see you, right? My thing is, this is to all artists that are charging outrageous prices. I mean, I get it. There are people who can afford that. But for the people who have to nickel and dime to get these tickets, I'm just saying, skipping out on rent money to attend a ritual, I mean, a concert, okay. And this ain't even about like, you know, most people will say, like, oh, you're just hating because you're an artist and you want to be. And my thing is, That's a different conversation for a different time. But it's not even about helping y'all save y'all money. It's about helping y'all save y'all lives. Because we're in a day and age where a lot of the hidden symbolisms and meanings and intentions that went over our heads 20 years ago, we have the eyes to see it now. Now it's just a matter of whether you want to recognize that or ignore it. But it's not like we don't know. And some of y'all know more than me. Some of y'all have access to this information more than I do. So I know either you can choose to be willfully ignorant or just slow. Whatever, that's up to y'all. But I just say what needs to be said just for the sake of seeing how energy moves and how energy works and knowing the importance of your spirit and your energy. And some people that aren't spiritual, that's fine. You don't have to be spiritual. It's just about being aware because there's people who are spiritual and you're better pray for them because you don't believe. And they use your energy and feed off of that. And while you think you're having a good time, and you might be in that moment, but you don't realize how your good time is fueling someone else's livelihood. And meanwhile, you out thousands of dollars of, you know, I'm just saying. Now, I'm not saying like to throw every artist away, but just be intentional about who you listen to and what you watch. And I mean, that's an ongoing thing for me especially, because, you know, it's like every fucking movie and album for me. But I say that for y'all because my experience is not as ridiculous as it is. Anybody could be me. Anybody. Anybody could have been going through the things that I've gone through. Just so happens that it's me. And some of y'all look up to people and stand for people and y'all argue down and defend some of these people that will literally sacrifice y'all while knowing that you're a fan of them. I've said that before and I'll say it again because it's true. And some people say, oh, it's conspiracy theory. Well, again, we're in a day and age where a lot of the things that went over our head years ago, we can see as clear as day. We understand, oh, okay, this is what the symbolism to this means. This is in reference to that. This is how energy is moving this way. A lot of the things that we thought would have been woo woo, oh, this is crazy talk, oh, this is magic and witchcraft. The people who choose not to be aware of it are the ones who are easily taken advantage of because you choose not to be aware. You don't have to believe in it and you don't have to practice it. But the more aware you are, the better you're able to protect yourself. Because you don't know to protect yourself from things that you're unaware of. You know, it's like something that Louis Farrakhan said in a video that I've recommended, where he talks about the untold story of the Million Man March. And he says, you know, some of us are at war and don't even realize it. And when you don't realize it, you could be working against your own interest. And knowledge is truly power, but it first takes awareness and realizing what all is going on around you. And hopefully, when you know better, you can do better. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at it. I try my best. I'm really trying to do the right thing and understand what all is going on in this world, the hidden mysteries, and ways to shed the truth. Not just to be combative and controversial, but truly for the good of all and the harm to none. And it infuriates me when I see situations that I've tried or could have fought to prevent or tried to prevent, and somehow, some way, things happen, but you realize the systems that you're going up against is very advanced and well thought out, and there's a lot of resources and connections and people that are willing to participate, even if it's against their own best interest. But I show up and I try my best and I try to tell the truth and let y'all know what it is because I really care, and I hope that y'all wake up and recognize it so y'all can protect yourselves too. And not only that, but I know there's people that are already awake, which is a point. Um, Shout out to those people, I will say, because I'm going to conclude this. You know, there are limited times here at the library. But, I want to say much love to the people who are aware and the people who are waking up or already awake, or maybe you half wake and you still getting the crust out your eye because you're in denial about certain things, and you're like, and it's hard to let certain things go. But look, I'm not saying to have it to like be all doom and gloom. Like, it's necessary, like I said before, it's necessary to still have a good time and still find happiness within the things that we enjoy. But it's certain truths that you can't go back from. And I say this because I've been watching The Matrix. Well, if my life were like the Truman Show, you already know. I've been watching The Matrix a lot, because there's not many options of what to watch. And I get it, it's Oscar season, but I rebuke any um, energetic pulling off of me. But I think the important thing about The Matrix, was controversy about that. If you want to shout out to Sophia Stewart, but within The Matrix is that people that are plugged into the Matrix are slaves to a system that they're unaware of. You don't know that you're in the Matrix until you realize that there's weird things going on, or you have somebody tell you what it is, or what the system is, or how to see the code. And that's the worst kind of enslavement, is to be a slave to a system that you're unaware of. And the people who are really good at being masters will have you loving the system. They'll have you appreciating the system, standing the system, fanning out for the system, not even realizing that you're a slave to it. And we all deserve better than that. And some of us, who I'm speaking to as well, will work for the system that's enslaving y'all. Y'all will help the system while being trapped in the system. And some people will do this knowingly, again, like I said, out of intimidation or fear, because they're like, well, you look on the news and see LA's on fire and think, wow, I'm just one person. What can I do to help or fight up against that? But my message is for us to shut our fear. Because, it's going to be ups and downs in life anyway, right? What's the point of being scared? And I say all this from experience. I'm not just saying this like, oh, I'm holier than thou. I'm a, you know, 5'2" giant of a being, maybe. But I say this from experience of being in this, like previously being in a space of fear, previously being in a space of standing and being a fan of systems that has once enslaved me, giving money and time and energy to people, places, and things that did not serve or benefit or help or were honest and truthful to me. And still going through that. But as I'm working my way out of that, if I could do any type of service to other people by just telling the truth, then I'll do that. And I don't have all the answers. I don't have it all figured out. I'm trying my best here, but it's just the right thing to do. And the same way my approach is to other artists, how I've always been, I've always tried to support other artists, how I would want to be supported as an artist, even with the little resources that I had. If I had a show, let me put other artists on. If I got a little money, let me buy your CD. You know, if I see you selling merchandise, let me purchase some of your merch. I've always been one to support people the way I would want to be supported. You got new products, let me purchase your products. So I say this as somebody that's struggled with those things and being in a space where I know I've come a long way compared to where I was years ago. And I know I still have more to go, still have more to do. I have further to expand and break out of and to elevate and build upon. But as I'm building for myself, I still want to support and help other people the way I would want to be helped. And to the people that are actively helping me, thank you. Thank you to the people who see me and hear me clearly and don't twist my words and try to bend it to something that it's not, and really hear me forthrightly. I don't know if that's a word, but I'm going to make it a word right now. Shakespeare made words, so why not me? But thank you to the people who take the risk and stand on business. And I get it. Sometimes it's a chess match and you got to play the game, and you got certain allies and relationships you trying to maintain. And I'm calling out some of them people. I'm sorry, but if you're not going to tell them, I'm going to tell them. And you should be telling them about themselves out of love, of course. Because again, honesty and transparency doesn't have to look like beating somebody down. It just looks like, hey, yo, you fucking up. Get your shit together. And I love you, but do better. And that's all it has to be. And the right people are going to be able to receive that and get it together. And we're lacking that. We wouldn't have situations where we have a whole city of people fighting amongst each other and not really talking about the real issues, but you want to have the issues and symbolisms, but you're not saying, hey, this is why we're upset. Because we had that conversation I can say, hey, maybe you're upset at the wrong people. Maybe the people that you're fighting for is creating the situations that you think you're upset about. Let's reevaluate this. But nobody's having honest conversations. That's why we're all upset at each other and fighting amongst each other when really we probably stand for the same things and should be fighting with each other. But we're not getting to the real problems. And doing that involves having honest and truthful conversations and really looking at what is the root of the problem here. Because in the midst of my movie marathons, a plethora of problems. I can tell you the root of a plethora of problems before it even happened. That just so coincidentally is just referenced in movies. And it's like, oh well, if we got these solutions in these movies, in these films, why are we not solving it? Why are we not preventing it? Because it's not about preventing the problem. It's about creating the problem to profit off of. And then of course people win their awards. Because that's really what people care about. Power, capitalism, status. You don't care about actually saving the kids. Because y'all know that there's fucked up situations that be happening to kids out here. And some of y'all participate in that and benefit off of that. And then act like, oh my God, we gotta go save the kids. Now go fight this person because we gotta save the kids. But do absolutely nothing with their power and resources. Meanwhile, knowing that it's gonna happen. How you gonna know something is gonna happen but you don't prevent it? Unless you benefit off the problem. Sorry if I'm making too much sense here. And I say that because there are crazy things that happen in this world. And it's uncomfortable to talk about, but it's necessary. If y'all really, for the people that are warriors and are volunteers and fighters for the army of whoever, make sure you're fighting for the right things. And if you're going to take a stand for something, make sure you know what you're standing for and who you're standing up against. Because a lot of times there are people who pull the strings, who treat us all like pieces on the chessboard to have us fighting amongst each other when we really should be looking up at the people, the hand that's moving the pieces. But y'all be worshiping that hand. Y'all be, all right, massa, let me make sure I'm at this store at this time. Let me go spend my money on these products. Let me go support this business, this company that's actively taking away diversity and inclusion. Let me go work for this company that literally called immigration on their own employees, Coca-Cola. It's time for us to wake up and be mindful of who we're actually fighting for and supporting. I've been saying this for years. I'm going to keep saying it until people start or continue, I should say, to wake up to what they're actually fighting for. Now, but that's it. You know, there's many missions to accomplish. And, I'm out here just trying to save these hoes. um, but again, thank you to the people who are already awake, who get it, who I don't have to explain this to, who is the choir that I'm preaching to. But again, I say this with love because it's necessary and it's not easy. But I really care about about humanity because naturally, as an Aquarian, Aquarians tend to be humanitarians. We see the big picture, and you know, a lot of times at our own detriment, try to help other people out. And I know that's an issue of mine, um, and I'm working on it, trying. Um, but yeah, much love to y'all. Thank you to the people who get it, who see it, who help, who who support, who drop gems, drop little pointers here and there. I appreciate it. Thank you. Much love to y'all. Much appreciation. May God bless us all. May we all be protected in our journeys. May we all be abundant and prosperous. And, you know, amidst waking up to the shenanigans that be happening on the planet, may we still find time to have a good time with the right people. And again, I do this all for the good of all and no harm to none. That's the prayer. Because, I usually like to conclude this with a prayer. That's the prayer. Okay. It's about time for me to wrap this up. Much love to y'all. And be your own hero. Of course, there's other things to pull from to inspire us, to teach us. But be your own inspiration. Be your own hero. And give God the praise. If you believe in God, I hope you do. Whoever your God is, give God the praise. Because, there's a lot of low frequency energy out here. It's wrecking havoc. And that's another conversation. I'll get to that in another live stream. But God bless us all. I hope this helps. I hope this inspires to some capacity. And much love to y'all. I'll see y'all soon. My system is about to be back up and running on Narisse's internet. All right, y'all. Much love.